What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Panasonic Lumix S1 for wedding photography and videography.
You got my attention, baby. And I can't make a move. Like a child, a star for love. I'll stay there as long as I have to. I'll cry a river of tears.
If you follow along, you probably know that I've been a GH5 user for quite some time now, a couple of years. I actually have 3 GH5s and a variety of lenses that we use for wedding videography, and I've used it for, I'd call it more hobby style photography, and it does a fine job. But as we all know, Micro Four Thirds, it struggles sometimes in lower light, so you have to light things a little bit more. So when Panasonic introduced the Lumix S1, I was intrigued a little bit to find out how could this fit into our process of creating for weddings, and could we leverage it in different ways, particularly low light, reception type lighting where the lighting dims down, and certainly we can light that, but at the same time you don't want to completely cover up all of the lighting that comes with a lot of today's popular DJs and dance scenes and all of that stuff. So while I don't think the GH5 is terrible at low light, actually, I think it actually does fairly well considering its sensor size. I think that we were looking for other possibilities for introducing photography as well, and the S1 is a great hybrid of that. Now, if you are watching this, you've probably already seen a ton of reviews about the S1. So this is the Lumix S1, and I bought it with the quote-unquote kit lens of the 24-105 f4. And like everyone who's done reviews, I would actually have been very impressed with the 24-105 f4. I think the quality of this lens is actually fairly incredible for what it is and the cost associated with it. If you buy it in the total kit, I think I got for somewhere around $3,000 at B&H. They had some deals running. Of course, if you've been following along, you know you can get the Vlog upgrade now for free, as well as there was a promo going on, and I'm not sure, I think there was a Panasonic promo going on where they were offering a free upgrade to 3-year warranty, which if you're a user of the Lumix cameras, you've probably never had to use a warranty. I mean, they're extremely durable. I've had zero problems. Your results may vary, but I actually have found that these are very reliable cameras. So the first thing that everyone always comments about is the weight. And yes, if you're a Micro Four Thirds user, this is definitely heavier. If you are a traditional full frame shooter, whether it be Sony or Canon or any of the other cameras that are out there, Nikon, for sure it's a tad bit heavier, but honestly, I didn't notice it being that different. Comes with this new style battery from Panasonic that seems to work well. Basically, when I've used it, you're going to get somewhere around 2 hours of continuous video. And when it comes to photography, I shot about 1,800 shots, photos the other day at a reception, and that's about what I got out of the battery. There was some video mixed in that, and that wasn't continuous shooting. That was just kind of your average use. I don't have any special settings turned on for power saving or anything like that. And so I think that overall, battery life is pretty good. When it comes to functionality and usability, ergonomics are great, as you would expect from Lumix. Menu system is very good. The EVF is great. I will say that I don't care for this eye cup that comes with it. I just don't think it's as good as what I've seen on the previous, like the GH5 eye cup even, I think is better than this eye cup. But the EVF is very good, as you probably already know. And there is Panasonic does sell a different variety of eye cup you can buy and add on to give a little bit bigger eye cup. I have ordered one, so I'm going to give that a try. Great ISO, great full frame, as you would imagine. Good noise, up to 12,800 easily, I'd say. One of the things that I don't really care for, and I don't know the logic behind this, and Panasonic probably can come through with it, is the card slots. It does have dual card slots, but one XQD and one SD. I think it's odd that they're mixed I'm sure there was some logic there. To be honest, though, I would have rather it just been the same card slots, whether it was both XQD or both SD. But you have to kind of go with what you've got. Has all of the standard ports that you would expect: microphone, headphone monitoring, full HDMI, which I do like, USB-C, which you can charge as you go along from an external battery or an external source. Other than that, overall, the camera is about like using any other Lumix camera, except it's full frame. Does have great in-body image stabilization. I did find when hand holding that I could see a little bit better image stabilization than what we see on the GH5s. And if you've used a GH5, you know that's pretty incredible actually. So the image stabilization does improve. The number one question that everybody always wants to know is how's the autofocus. I would say overall it's better than the GH5. It is not going to be as good as probably the Sony or Canon autofocuses, where it's phase detect or dual pixel. But honestly, for day-to-day use stuff that I've used it for, I haven't really found it to be crazy unreliable, I guess is the way to say. I found it to be very usable. I'd say it's 80 to 85% at capturing the focus I wanted. Occasionally, it will pick something else. If you're doing face eye detection, it will pick the wrong person sometimes. That's kind of the nature of that. I found I was using oftentimes sort of the one area or single point focus, and I found it to be very reliable for that. It is improved. I think it's much smoother. I don't see as much hunting. You've probably seen a lot of those reviews out there as well that say that same thing. As photography wise, I've been super impressed. It does great for photos, as you would expect for a full frame camera. I think the autofocus is snappy. I find zero problems with the speed at which it can take photos for what I use it for. I'm not a sports photographer or a wildlife photographer, so overall, that autofocus speed is just fine, and the rate at which it takes pictures in its continuous autofocus and fast multi-shot works good. Overall, people have complained about the power switch being there. I don't find that to be that big of a deal. It does have this top display that gives you some information. I didn't find that to be a big problem. You don't get the flip around screen, as you already know. I didn't find that to be a problem either, unless you're doing traditional vlog content where you want that flip screen, like on the GH5 that I'm using now. You really don't need it for day-to-day use when we're shooting wedding videos or wedding photos or any of that kind of stuff. I just don't find it that much of a hindrance. So I kind of understand why Panasonic said, hey, this is a kind of a hybrid photo video camera. I do look forward to getting the Vlog upgrade and a few more bit rates, but honestly, I mean, for wedding videos, we don't shoot a lot of 422 10-bit stuff, or I mean, we shoot a lot of 4K 68-bit video simply because we like to slow down a lot of those cinematic moments. If we're shooting long format ceremony or speeches, yes, we would probably go to 24, but for most things, we shoot a lot of 4K 60. I do wish, like everyone else, that it wasn't a crop at 4K 60, so you do get a 1.5 crop, but I don't think that's a deal killer, really. Seems to work okay, but time will tell as I use it a little bit more. Maybe I'll change my mind about that. Overall, I'd say that I've been happy with it. Have ordered a Godox flash to use on it. Have ordered the iCup, as I talked about, a second battery, which is only, at the moment, mostly only available from Panasonic. I think the third parties are just now starting to release a few batteries. I saw one from a company that I did not recognize on Amazon. So certainly you can find a third-party battery, but I'm kind of waiting for third-party batteries from companies that I'm familiar with, at least with GH5 stuff. But overall, I think it'll be a nice complement to our suite of Lumix cameras already that we use for wedding videos and wedding photos. So I think, matching those color profiles and just kind of having that same color space is helpful for us. Price is a little bit higher, but frankly, there's a lot of variation in prices out there depending on what your needs are. I didn't find it to be too much out of the ballpark. I am looking forward to additional lenses. I'm excited about Sigma and them announcing some of their primes that are coming out the end of July. Also, I've not seen the Panasonic Lumix 50 millimeter that is supposed to be phenomenal, but also very expensive. I'm not sure I'm willing to invest that kind of money yet on those kind of lenses. But with the alliance with Sigma and Lumix and Leica, I think there's going to be a pretty good suite of lenses coming out. Leica's obviously releasing new cameras right now, and Sigma new cameras as well. So with the L mount, I think it's going to be fine. But yeah, overall, it's been a great addition to our suite, our kit. I did find it really pretty good for the autofocus, for the video features, and also for the photography features that we're going to begin to offer a little bit more. So if you're considering the S1, I would say give it a shot. You could rent one, try it out for a little while, see what your thoughts are. But overall, I think, particularly with the recent firmware, I went to the 1.2 firmware as soon as it came out. Did see some improvement. I think that Panasonic has always been good with firmwares. I think the GH5 gets a little bit of a bad rap for its autofocus. Certainly for still content like this, I use manual focus, but I've used autofocus on the GH5s. I can throw it on, a Ronin gimbal and go around, and I find it's very usable when moving around. Is it perfect? No, it's not. And sometimes I do manual focus it, but I think it's a little bit, gets a little bit of a bad rap unnecessarily. But overall, I'm happy with it. I think it's great. If you're considering an S1, give it a shot. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.